Man, I love that new opening. That's so much fun.
Great opener. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Untitled Themed Entertainment Design Lockdown Show. I'm your host, Patrick.
I'm Andy. And you know what's funny? I think I noticed when I started making these titles is that we took the design out. So I guess we're not doing design anymore.
Yeah, we started off with a very placeholder name, and then we do design here. So welcome. This is our new time, folks. We are doing the show at 4 o'clock Pacific, 7 o'clock Eastern. Andy agreed that last week when we did it early, I was a lot more chipper. And so sometimes when we do the show at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night, I've already, after a long day, so we've settled in. We have a great show. We have a behind the scenes look at the Scream and Stream Drive-Thru haunt experience that is currently open and can't wait to talk. We have Kris on the line in the green room, in the virtual green room right now, ready to go. Really exciting stuff. I really hope you never title it Untitled thing. Yeah, okay. Well, that's true. We've talked about that. We've said, should we title it? And it's like, no, maybe we should not do that. So fair enough. Andy, how you doing this week?
I'm doing good. It was a good weekend. Had a nice socially distant outside dinner with some friends on Saturday night at the house. And it was good. It was a good weekend. Interesting news week last week. It's funny, we always do the show on Monday and then we have a whole week of news and things that happen to catch up on. And we got a lot. I got a lot to talk about today for news.
Well, let's jump in.
The first one, the Universal Orlando confirms the Jurassic World Velocicoaster. I really wonder too. It's like, Twitter's been calling it Velocicoaster now for like a year. And I wonder if that was what it was originally called, or if they're just like, you know what, let's just go with that because everybody knows it is Velocicoaster already. So
yeah, it sounds a lot cooler than it's like, it sounds fun. It reads well. I've moved past what it's doing to the, I forget if we talked about this at all, but like what it's doing to the weenie of the park. And I'm looking forward to riding it one day. I know it looks like they have a lot of show built in.
They just released a teaser video today too, with some of the rendering and the on-ride footage, renders and stuff like that too. It looks really cool. So you can look for that on the Twitters. And then the big news down in Florida too with you guys is that the pandemic is over for you guys. It's just over. It's just like like mission accomplished. Banner.
Yeah, I for those that don't know, I would consider the weenie of Universal Orlando Adventure to be the Jurassic Park, the center. Kris is asking that in the chat. So the rescue or whatever that is, the center. When you look at it, it looks like it draws you across the bay. In regards to, so the weenie, it depends. It's the weenie inside the park. We'll bring you on, Kris, in a little bit, and we can debate that. What I was gonna say is, the pandemic, I have some interesting thoughts about that because, our counts were very low in Florida. They're very low in Orlando. We had like 50 cases yesterday in Orlando. And, I'm very sensitive to the fact that it's not, it's wearing the mask and social distancing appears to work. And there's a lot of people that are back to work because the government never came in to rescue anybody. So as a representative of the industry that's been hit so hard, I'm happy to see things, looks like they reopened safely. We haven't seen any major outbreaks tied to theme parks. I personally don't go to restaurants indoors, but I've ventured out. I went to a patio restaurant this weekend a couple times. I was outside, but I did it and felt safe. Disney and Universal are keeping their protocols, so we get that, right? So we understand that that's what's happening. But I mean, the idea that Disneyland is still closed and there's no reopening guidelines, it's pretty shocking. I mean, I don't want to say be over dramatic about it, but it's pretty remarkable. You have the city of Anaheim doing a press conference, basically demanding, looking out behind him, saying, "This is the wasteland. We need to reopen. What is happening? Give us guidelines." I don't know what is happening. I know there's two extremes, but if you look at the data, it's all gone down. The mask wearing is very widely used in Orlando. I went to Costco for the first time. People are wearing masks. It's enforced. I saw a couple noses, but it was better than it was a lot better than Dollywood. I'll tell you that much. And I know Kris. I think he did some traveling this summer, so I'd be interested to hear his experience as well when he traveled. But I don't know. Where are you? Should Disneyland be reopening? I mean, this is pretty. I feel like this is kind of crazy at
Yeah,
this.
at this point, I think that it has been proven in Florida and other places that it can work and you can have a functioning theme park and have a good experience with just people wearing masks and doing temperature checks. I mean, it's absolutely definitely been proven in Florida. Like there's been, like you said, no outbreaks and no, tracing back to any kind of outbreak or anything like that to the theme parks. And it proves that just being mostly outside and wearing masks is like the key to this whole thing. Like, it has been from the beginning.
Yeah, and the CDC director said, um, or an official said recently. I don't want to misquote. Is like, if everyone just wear a mask, this would be done in a 8 to 12 weeks. And I don't. This isn't a political show, but I just don't know why that didn't happen back in March, and we could have been
Through it all.
and even in it's a even in states that have reopened that are not wearing masks, this does seem to be going down. And I don't want to minimize what anybody that suffered from this. We know that there are real consequences of it that have been terrible, especially very early on when not much was known about it. But if there's no federal help and there's no, the billionaires are fine, so don't worry about those billionaires. But for the people that are actually trying to work and don't have can't afford to work, it's just this devastating. So, well, Halloween Horror Nights had their light version. 2 mazes open, 2 houses. I'm sure I'll get over there at some point. But as somebody, maybe we could talk about Halloween when we get Kris on, because I know he's a big Halloween Horror Nights guy.
Yeah, I just have a couple more little news items.
Yeah.
Before we can get to that and talk about Halloween stuff. That for the first time in 60 years, Disney adds a new key to the 4 keys. Now the 5 keys: safety, courtesy, show, and efficiency, and now inclusion. Which I think is a nice gesture, just to codify, the sort of the new inclusion, that people are really striving for, to LGBTQ plus people, and what is it, neurodivergent people, I'm sure, autistic people, things like that, just trying to be more inclusive.
So and I actually am like, in my head I have like a whole Twitter rant ready to go about this in a positive way, because like people say, people who have not worked for Disney don't know how important these 4 keys really are, or that originally were. I worked at Disneyland for 6 years, and they were on every wall. They were drilled into you. You had training about it. And I was a working lead, which was basically an attraction supervisor, and we would be making a decision about how we were going to operate, and we would literally in real time with management run through the keys, like, okay, is it safety, is it efficiency, is it a show issue, and we would manage our decisions based on that. So the amount of training and classes that are going to be around this, every attraction has it listed out in their operating guidelines. They list out the keys and how your attraction relates to that. So this is not you said gesture. This is really a lot bigger than a gesture. This really is going to be impactful to get it out there and to really make change and get it on the radar and have discussions, which is really really great that they're doing that. So I was really happy to see that, and I watched the video when they announced it because my wife works for Disney, and it was really cool to see that.
Yeah, that's really cool. The last thing that I think is noteworthy we can end on really quick is that the Hong Kong let the option expire for a second theme park in Hong Kong, so that's off the table now, essentially forever.
That was devastating to see that today, or whenever it came out. Yeah, I know that they've had plans in the works to try to do something there. And maybe there's more hope in Shanghai, but they did a pretty decent job of master planning that entire parcel out, and you can see where they were planning to do. The park's a different story, just in relates to how they had to go out the berm, but like in regards to specifically how it was set up with the hotels and all that, it's going to feel weird. I think it's going to kind of feel empty now, or weird, or awkward. So
well, I mean, I can imagine the Hong Kong government or the Chinese government later at some point just putting this like garbage development right next to it just because they can, office and apartments or some horrible mall or something like that. I can totally see that happening.
Yeah, that's a challenge. Well, what else is on the news?
That's all. That's all I got. Let's get to the show.
All right, let's bring him on. Kris, hello. How's it going?
The man, the legend.
What's up? How are you guys?
Well, welcome to the show. It's nice to see you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's good to be here. Thanks for having me on.
So I want to. I don't really know how Andy knows. You, Kris, but obviously, when I first moved to Orlando, we met in the improv class, and we were both. We just both kind of went around Orlando a ton. And I love this story where you burst into my house or my apartment and said, you had a bottle of Grey Goose, and you said, this is the best season ever. And I was my first year in Orlando. I had no idea what you were talking about. And you said it's Epcot Food and Wine and Halloween Horror Nights. And we did it all, like every night we would have our thing. And it was so much fun. And we both just loved it. So what's been your experience with Halloween? Before we talk about how you are doing your own haunt, which is, it's really exciting. When I knew you were, and I heard you were attached, I was like, that son of a bitch did it. He's done it. He did his own haunt. That's so cool. Like, what's been your journey with Halloween Horror Nights and all that?
Yeah. So my first year, actually, my memory was jogged really well. Just a couple of yesterday, right, babe? We went to Diet HHN, and I see that Nate Creative is in the video. So what's up, Nate? I got your sticker. I really appreciate it. We spent the day there, and we went to the tribute store, and I was looking at all the maps on the wall. And I remember very vividly my first year coming as a guest to Halloween Horror Nights in Florida was 2004. And I was just like blown away by the scope and the budget and the detail of everything. And then the very next year, I transferred to UCF to study hospitality and ended up being a performer in the Terror Minds house when the event was taking place in both IOA and USF. And by the way, the weenie of IOA is the lighthouse. It's not the visitors center, but that's neither here nor there. The year after that, I became an assistant stage manager for the Run Hostile Territory House. And then 2 years after that, I was a stage manager for like big chunks of Halloween Horror Nights, either a cluster of houses or a cluster of streets. So that was my Horror Nights path and journey. It was a lot of fun. Probably the best job I've ever had, to be honest.
And so you're a big theme park guy, and you come out here for the haunt, and you moved to Atlanta. Well, I know you moved to St. Thomas, and then are you in Atlanta right now, or are you in a hotel or something?
I'm in Orlando. Where's my Cheesecake Factory bag?
Oh, it's in the back. Here, we can see it now. Oh, there we go. Right over there.
I feel like I'm like the weatherman trying to tell you about the rain. I can't tell which way is which.
So big theme park guy and big haunt fan. Where did you have dreams of doing your own haunts before we even get to Scream and Stream? What's been your lifelong dream of this?
I remember vividly, I was like 11 years old, and I had a PC, and I would write fake business letters related to a Knott's Berry Farm's Halloween haunt. I wanted to be a part of that so much that I would write fake business dealings back and forth between producers or managers or however I envisioned that as an 11-year-old at the time. I think my first Halloween theme park experience was Universal Studios Hollywood in 1997. So yeah, I would have been 11 years old at the time. I remember I went with my cousin Drew and my cousin Skylar. Drew was the older guy and Skylar was the younger guy. We walked arm in arm throughout the park the whole night and just had a great time. I had an annual pass at the time to Universal Studios Hollywood, and it was so poignant to me how the park could be something during the day and then turned into something totally different at night. And it really struck me from all aspects, the creativity of it, the production of it, everything was just really amazing to me. And, obviously these Halloween events are such a good time. That's why we all go to them. It's not just because it's scary. It's because it's good vibes all around. And that's why we go year after year after year. And that's why there's a culture around it, right?
Yeah. And it's so interesting. I look back at my theme park moments, and I remember the first time I went to Halloween haunt at Knott's Scary Farm. I was like, I was like kind of 12, like it was spooky and it was like a thing to go at that age. And like, I have vivid memories of walking through Camp Snoopy through the scare zone and, being like, I'm feeling too cool for school, like, or just feeling cool. Like, oh, I'm cool. I'm doing what the big kids are doing. You know what I mean? Cause it was like a thing that my sister would do, but I wasn't able to do it. And so, you look at your most impactful moments and it's almost like a rite of passage for some kids to do that, which is cool.
It definitely was for me. I mean, I grew up in Anaheim, with Knott's Scary Farm.
Yeah.
I would go to the Scary Farm, man, in the 80s when I was like, I think I went when I was like 10 or 11.
Yeah.
So like 84, 85, I started going to Knott's Scary Farm. And, it was like I was always going with the older kids and like, you felt really cool. You're right.
For those watching in the audience, go ahead and comment with your first haunt experience. We'd love to hear it. So, and then a more mature Kris goes to Halloween Horror Nights every day for, at least the season that we went to with the Frequent Fear with Express and all that, and had a great time. And then, so then you started, you have your own company. Is that related to this in any way? Because you have a company that's audiovisual. What's your background? You mind letting people know? Because people are like, how do you even start a haunt? Like, who has the audacity to do that? And what kind of background do you have that kind of made you feel confident enough to do this?
Well, honestly, it started by accident. It's 100% the truth. It started by accident. I hope she's watching, but Crafty Ashley, a friend of mine from Twitter, was tweeting about how coronavirus is affecting the whole hospitality industry and theme parks in general, and that it would probably affect an event like Horror Nights. And she said, wouldn't it be cool if there was like some sort of drive-through experience? And honestly, that tweet was the catalyst that sort of started it all, because I read that and I dropped my phone and I looked at my wife, Kelly, and I said, could this work? Could we have a drive-through Halloween experience? Because we've all done drive-through Christmas lights thing. Have you guys ever done that at Griffith Park?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, how can we take that model and then instead of being holly and jolly, we make it creepy and freaky instead.
Creepy and freaky.
And, that's just kind of where it started. A couple days later, we had a website. It was, if you could see wife just hiccuped. If you could see the difference between the website on day one and the website today, it would be remarkable. Everything has just changed and grown so much, and from there, it's really all been some combination of good fortune and hard work. We're really fortunate that we've had talented people be interested in our event, be interested in the story of our event, be interested in contributing to our event. Everybody that's involved, and shout out to anybody that has worked on Scream and Stream. Everyone has been incredible, from our hardworking cast and crew to the creative team that has built and deployed assets that are, as of this weekend, entertaining guests in a spooky way. It's been a huge mountain to move, but it's been a lot of fun, honestly. And to answer your question, I had an audio visual business, and it was decimated by coronavirus. Yeah. Before this, I was doing corporate events for doctors and lawyers, and the type of events where people sit up in the front of the room and answer questions on a microphone for 6 hours, and you get lawyer credit or doctor credit or extended education credit. And all that stopped. So we have all these audiovisual assets. We have all these audiovisual connections in the industry. I do a lot of work in Orlando for corporate AV events. And I thought, well, we could take that and give it to this and try and do something with it that's Halloween related.
So I listened to another interview you did, and I really love how you went about things. But before we talk about that, let's go ahead and show so you tell us about this teaser video. So you threw this together, and when this happened, you kind of maybe didn't have all the details figured out quite yet. Like, maybe we want to set up the video and then we'll play it and then talk about it.
Yeah, it's a stock footage teaser. That's all it is.
Okay, Rachel.
Coming this fall to Central Florida. haunted drive-through experience set deep in the woods. Do you dare take the drive? Scream and Stream. Buy tickets now and save 25% only at screamandstream.com.
That cover is no longer valid.
Yeah, that offer's no valid. So that was, I mean, obvious. Did you put that video together then?
In one 4 or 5 hour night, we were traveling. We were in Virginia. We had just gone to no, it wasn't Hershey. We had just gone to the Colonial Williamsburg to Busch Gardens Williamsburg to attend their socially distanced roller coasters and beer event. And I said, we need a video. Every good event needs a video, and we need a video. So we made that on iMovie one night with takeout, Uber Eats, and we wanted to convey what it would be like without having anything in existence yet. All we knew at that point was that we had a site selected and an agreement with the venue.
Oh, so and that video is great. Like, and it's amazing what there's not a lot of barriers to entry these days to doing videos, which is fantastic. But like the idea of putting on your own themed entertainment experience, there's so many barriers to that. And so for you as a startup, it's pretty incredible that you did this. Like you said, I say you had the audacity to say, fine, there's, if you would have told me in March that Halloween Horror Nights was going to be canceled, I would have said, no, this is going to be over. Everyone's going to wear a mask and it's going to be great. We all know that went down. So, when did you kind of start planning it? How did you go about figuring out what space you were going to use to do it?
It was June. It was around the middle of June or maybe early July that we saw that tweet. And how did we pick the space? Well, honestly, I can't remember. I know that I looked for venues via different event websites that'll guide people who are getting married or people.
Oh no, we lost Kris, it seems. Well,
it was just getting good.
Is he no, he's frozen in time.
He probably doesn't know.
Yeah, well, while we wait for him to get back, I'm sure Rachel can help figure that out. He's back. Hey, Kris. Okay,
Hey.
so you paused. Can you go back to you were looking at event websites, and then that's where you left off.
Yeah, I called a lot of horse ranches and other outdoor wedding venues, and of course, none of those people were interested. They had no idea what I was talking about and didn't want to chat with me at all. Once they realized I wasn't looking to get married, they rushed to hang up the phone. And then I remember telling my wife, we need a couple of things. Guaranteed, we need a road that's accessible, easily accessible. It can't be in a neighborhood or near houses because it's likely we'll have some congestion and some traffic. We know that we need some facility type things. So it would be really cool if at a maximum, there was a restaurant or a way to bring in food and beverage, like a food truck. And at a minimum, we have to have restrooms, right? And then obviously we need a long enough road that we can do all kinds of crazy, can I swear on the show or no?
You can, if you want to.
All kinds of crazy shit on the road, and it can't impact anybody else. And we also need to have power because I didn't really want to rent a generator.
Yeah.
So we talked about this for 2 days, right? And eventually we realized we're looking for an RV park. We need an RV park because an RV park has long, winding roads, and it has power every 100 feet or wherever there's a pad for an RV to hook up. And wouldn't it be really great if it was an RV park that no one was using? And I wish I could tell you how, but I think I was just scanning Google Maps. I was just clicking and dragging all over Florida, Orlando, and Kissimmee, looking for something that would stand out. And then I found this little airboat adventure park, and I saw this road that winded all the way down and all the way back through these big, humongous trees. And I said, this is it. this is the answer, right? And so I called them and I said, hi, my name's Kris. I want to talk to you about hosting an event in the fall. And they're very coronavirus safety conscious. And they said, oh, we can't even discuss having an event because we don't know where Osceola County is going to be in October. We can't guarantee you any numbers, any space, any availability, because the restrictions change all the time and they might change again. And I said, I don't think you understand. We want to do a different kind of event at your venue. And I think that was a Friday. I went down on a Monday to meet with them in person. And by the end of that same week, we had a handshake agreement, and then we had our respective lawyers draft up a formal agreement.
And I just want to say, I think it's so brilliant that it's an abandoned RV park, just that power thing. Like, that's such a great way of doing it. So you don't have to worry about, a long road. Okay, great. Or a long field. Great. But you're having to run power in there. And so that's just fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, we already are running a ton of power, but we're saving a lot by just not having to, run an extensive amount of power plus a generator, which would be both, a pollutant to the area and a huge noisemaker. It just wouldn't be cohesive.
Yeah.
Tell me about. I'm curious about the name Scream and Stream. What is that? Where does that come from? And where's the stream? Is there a stream?
Today here in September, the stream refers to the fact that our venue sponsor is Boggy Creek Airboat Adventures. So you stream on the water with their airboat adventures.
Okay.
Back in July, the original plan was to use more of our audio visual from my company and provide private cinema drive-in stalls. So we were going to hang 8-foot projection screens for cars to come out, park, and they could connect their own laptop or phone to our projector and watch any movie they wanted on the screen, just for them, just for their car. We were going to send the audio back out into their aux port so they could just park and watch any movie they wanted, a scary movie, a not so scary movie, anything like that. So that's what the stream originally referred to. And there were a lot of complications with making that a reality, which is why that portion of the event doesn't exist today.
Wow. Well, now it makes sense. Like, stream, I always thought it was the airboat, so that makes sense.
Yeah, and I was just like, is there a stream? Like,
well, there's a lake.
There is.
You go on the airboat and you stream along, so
So you have you have a location, and you have an idea. What were the next steps that you followed to like really bring it to life? The story and the sets and all the logistics. It's quite an momentous thing to try to figure out.
Yeah, for sure. The answer is spreadsheets. Lots and lots of spreadsheets.
And thanks. Did you? What was your like? What people did you bring together to kind of to formulate it? How do you know people that are able to do? And how do you even find people to do this kind of stuff? What was your creative team and the logistics team on that?
Honestly, everyone came to us, which was really, really lovely. We put out a website. We created some social media accounts. We started tweeting about the concepts. We posted about the concepts. The concept was created by myself and my wife. Really, we thought, it's a mashup, right, of the drive-in movie experience. That's what it is. And the way that we came to that was by the realization that right now, due to coronavirus, everyone is making drive-in movies popular again. It's socially distanced. You can be in your own vehicle. You don't have to interact with other people or be near other people, and you can still go out and see a movie, which is the closest thing we could get to normal for a little while there. Or I think it's still the case. You still can't go to movies in most places, right? And I said, well, what if there was like a drive-in scary movie, but because we want it to be real and executed in real life, you could drive through the screen and into the movie, and the movie would happen all around you. So the original concept has always involved 4 kids who break into an abandoned drive-in theater, and then they get attacked by someone. And back in July, it was a single slasher. And then we realized we didn't want to cast a lot of the same type of people, like the same height or something, and try to match characters. Logistically, that would be so difficult. So we switched it to a generic cult group. So we can have any gender, any body type, any height can be a member of the cult, and we can swap them as needed. And that's how we landed on the story where we are today. Everything else that's been layered in has not been for me. I'll just tell you right now, I am not the most creative person. My background is really in operations and logistics. And we've been so blessed to have people like Michael Burnett, Lindsay Phillips, Kyle Ransbottom, Andrew Duguay. I know I'm missing names. Stanley Natonic come and contribute concepts from their backgrounds and their experiences to help make this story a richer one. And that's really how we got to where we are.
And so probably what's on people's mind, and I'd love to play one of your B-roll videos or one of your videos so people can kind of understand the scope of the quality of it all. And if you have any photos to share, we can arrange that too. But what are the safety protocols? So, you mentioned these people were like, we're not doing events here. So what are you talking about? And what kind of safety protocols are in place? For the way you actually fabricated things for the guests and also for your performers with a car. Everyone's like, how are you going to drive around in a car when there's people? Those are the questions people might have.
Yeah, it's funny because back in July when we launched, we got so many comments about how unsafe this was going to be. Like, you can't scare people behind the wheel. You just can't do it. Someone's going to accidentally press on the accelerator. And first, I would really encourage you to think just organically and calmly about what happens when you get startled behind the wheel. Like, if you're driving along and you're kind of checked out, you're driving to work, and then like something darts into the road, our instinct is to press on the brake. Unless you get confused, no one ever presses on the accelerator. And we wanted to be prepared for an accidental press on the accelerator, even though we consider it to be unlikely. So for that reason, there's no one comes in the road with you. There's a cone line road. We got cones rented from the Mouse up north, and there's no way to get confused about where you need to go. It's all very clear. And performers do not come up to, in front of, or behind your car ever. So it's just like a drive-through Christmas lights display. If you've ever been to one that might involve like a Santa Claus or some live deer, they're all off to the side of the road. You drive by it very slowly. We implemented a traffic light system, so we bought $2,000 in these red light, green light, wirelessly controlled traffic lights. They're city size. They're ready for an intersection, and the performers can all control them from their stations, from their scenes. We've got, a series of rules posted at the entrance, just like at an attraction. We record everyone's vitals. So we take down their driver's license, we take down their insurance, we get a photo of their face and a photo of their license plate on their car, just so that they know they're accountable. Because just like at a drive-through Christmas lights display, or even in a parking lot, you're still responsible for your own driving. So we carry general liability insurance, and we are responsible if anything from the show were to, God forbid, damage your vehicle. But we've designed the show for that not to be possible. But, you always have to be prepared. And aside from that, you are still responsible for your own driving. We talked to some folks who run Christmas lights displays, and they said every year someone gets into a little fender bender because they're distracted by the show and they're not paying attention to what's going on in front of them. And it's just inevitable. So we do have a waiver, and it does state that we're responsible for our show, but you are still responsible as the driver for your driving, any actions that result from your driving.
Yeah, I was going to ask about waivers and insurance and how you were dealing with that. I was thinking, like, man, how do you get insurance for something like this? And I guess
probably so difficult, Andy. Like, it was, honestly, we've done a lot of crazy difficult things in this project, and the insurance part was the hardest part, bar none.
I believe you. Having, we both come from production backgrounds, and I have general liability insurance from my production company, and all I do is sit here in my studio and do music. But and then like the production insurance is separate. Like, if you're gonna like go out and do physical production, you've got to have that kind of insurance as well. And I was wondering what kind of insurance you had to get, and like what kind of permits did you have to get? Do you have to get occupancy permits and building permits? Like, I don't know, Osceola County, like, or state of Florida, like, what did you have to do to get like permits wise to be able to put this on?
Yeah, well, there are no interior show scenes, so there's no building permits. You don't drive into anything or through anything. There's one flat that's just literally a flat piece of scenic, which is the archway, which is secured into the ground. Because it's privately owned land or privately leased land, there are no occupancy permits required. We just adhere to the rules that Boggy Creek instills.
That's it. So you can just like do whatever you want, and people drive through it, and then no one's going to stop you.
We can't do whatever we want. I'm sure OSHA would still have some concerns if we started doing something unsafe, but
sure.
Do
you have any stunts like cable pulls or flying rigs or anything like that? Or Like that, would that complicate things?
That would horrendously complicate things for sure.
Mm.
So why don't we throw oh, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry.
Why don't we throw a clip on just so people can get a little flavor of this and see how, this is a real thing. It's not just Kris hanging out there by himself with the flashlight. So snappy. So now you're leading up to opening day, and you had your first opening weekend. This was opening weekend?
Yes.
How did you, so how like, it's one thing to create an event, but like operating your own little theme park or your own little theme entertainment experience, like those are also two different skill sets. There's, like you said, you're more of an operations guy. Like, how did you even figure out if this was financially feasibly possible? What's that? Spreadsheets. Okay, so you did a pro forma and said, okay, it's going to cost this many vehicles, this, that, and the other, and make it work. Okay, spreadsheets.
Yeah, is probably, I imagine you reverse engineered it. You're like, here's how much it's going to cost. How much do we have to charge?
Yeah, to an extent, we had a budget. We're way over it.
Yeah. And how many nights was your initial plan? What was your initial capacity that you thought you were going to get?
So originally we were going to attack Fridays, Saturdays, or Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays every week for 6 weeks. And then as ticket sales sort of trickled in really weakly at first, which is to say not very strong, we realized that it makes more financial sense to focus people into fewer nights. So now we're really focused on Fridays and Saturdays, but I am really pleased to say that as of today, we're looking at adding additional nights. Gotcha.
Okay, great. That's fantastic. So
congratulations.
And you can follow along at Stream and Stream or Scream and Stream Twitter and for the latest updates. Okay, so that's great. So you're adding you're looking to add in some nights.
We got to check the performers and our crew first, but tentatively, yes, we're adding nights.
That's great. And let's talk about that. So we know that there are hundreds of people that are thousands really that to put on a Halloween Horror Night event or or the Busch Gardens event or it's XYZ. There are thousands of people involved in that, and just from somebody that is really knows the carnage that's going on. I really want to thank you for putting on this event. I think it's really fantastic. How many jobs have you created? How much have you given back to the economy just in general?
Yeah. So I think we have as of today 46 paid positions.
Mm-hmm.
With any haunt, people will come and go. We've already lost a few individuals, but we're still hiring more individuals. So I think if you really look at the people who've been with us the whole way through, we've got 43 individuals on payroll. Obviously, our scenic folks and our creative folks are no longer working. We might have some of them come in for strike, but now we've really focused on the AV team, the performance team, and the operations team, as well as our event coordinator, our performance captain, and some other smaller contracts we have with folks who are doing some ongoing work. So like, for example, we're making changes to our traffic lights this week. We have an agreement with Fright Night Studios, who is Michael Burnett, who's doing all of our makeup. So at the end of this, we anticipate, we had originally anticipated injecting about $80,000 into the local economy, but it's really going to end up being more like $100,000.
Oh, that's great. That's fantastic.
And you're tied in with the local charity as well, right? A portion of your proceeds go to a charity?
Yes, we are donating 20% of our net proceeds to Second Harvest Central Florida Food Bank. That was something we started, honestly, before we even had a video. We knew we wanted to give back to the community because Central Florida is hurting so much right now from this virus, with jobs lost or being furloughed. And, we just really wanted to come to this from a place of what can we do to give back? Because we knew we had to hire people. Like, this is going to be hard work coming out to the swamp in Kissimmee every night and standing with the mosquitoes and scaring every car that comes by and sweating and getting dirty and muddy. Cause it's real life out there. Like I told people at auditions, this is going to be like camping. It's very accurate. It's definitely a lot of work. And we knew we had to pay people appropriately to get the best out of them because it's difficult.
I think it's so great that you're actually paying people a decent wage, because a lot of these kind of local haunts and things like that just, rely heavily on volunteers for their construction and their performers, and so it's so nice that you're not doing that.
Well, I want to be transparent. We did have 4 scenic interns who came to us from SCAD and UCF. Um, 2 of them were able to leverage some internship credit. We paid the other 2, or we're paying all of them gas reimbursement, which reminds me, if you're watching, I need your miles. Please send them to me. Thank you. And everybody else, though, has been paid. Yes.
That's great. That's great. So I was looking at the website too. There's 2 tracks. There's the scary one and the trick or treat one. Tell us about the differences in those and what happens, and is there like a 2-for-1 kind of thing you can you do both of them or just one of them, or?
So all of our experiences are priced separately. You can do both of them on the same night. The Drive-Thru trick or treat is essentially the same exact road that that you use for the Drive-Thru haunt, but instead of having all the gore and the bodies out, we hide all those and we let friendly characters come out, non-IP characters like a milkman and a princess and we've got a pinata character and we've got a Navy fighter pilot. They come out and they give you candy via socially distanced means. So they distribute pieces of candy to each member of the car and have fun, friendly interactions with everybody in your vehicle.
And that's before the scary event,
Yeah, we run that. We open that up for an hour. We let people come into the queue between 5:30 and 6:15. As long as you're in the queue by 6:15, you will get through the trick or treat experience.
That's cool. Okay.
And how many people are you getting on a night, or what would you say? And I know you're priced per car.
We are priced per car, not per car. We have a capacity in mind. That's an internal number. I'm really stoked to tell you that we hit those capacity numbers on Friday and Saturday.
That's great.
Yeah.
And what are the hours?
Drive-thru haunt, not trick or treat. We'll probably see popularity increase as we get closer to October 31st.
Yeah, I can imagine. Getting closer to Halloween, the demand is going to skyrocket, and it's nice to hear you're adding more days because I'm sure you'll need it.
Yeah.
And Rachel, go ahead and throw up the map. I just want to maybe we haven't really talked about the specific areas because you said you had like a food cart area and a restroom and you had a path. Like maybe we can throw up the map of the actual area. Is that on the website?
Yeah, I believe it is.
Rachel is not finding it. She's telling me to wait a minute. Okay, so maybe because we kind of just jumped in there. But what is the area? What is actually a part of the experience? So if you're a guest and you're showing up. You have restrooms. I'm presuming masks are required.
Yeah.
And what is a part of the guest experience? So if someone's going to drive, the 30 minutes, here we go. Okay, the event map. Yay! You can zoom in on that. What makes up this whole thing?
Yeah. So the road at the bottom right is Southport Road. It actually dead ends just a little bit past the entrance there, and so this is at the long end of like a bunch of ranches and farms. So we've been so popular that our queue is extended into the street both nights, unfortunately. As an operations person, that makes me cringe. But, the reality is that even at our best efficiency, we are going to have a wait any given evening. We didn't want to give timed entries because we didn't want people to stress about getting there at a certain time. And then, things happen. What if we have a rain delay or a lightning delay? What if we have a problem on the road that we need to rectify and we get backed up and then you're arriving for your 9:30 appointment and you can't get in until 10:30 and you feel like this is throwing off your evening. So just like any theme park, if you want to be first in line, come early and be first in line. If you want to arrive later to maybe avoid crowds that kind of hit us during what we call our peak hours, and you can do that too. So what you're looking at is an overview of the entire experience. You can queue up for either the trick or treat or the drive-thru haunt. And if you'd like, you can also park. You can get out. You can visit the Boggy Bottom Barbecue restaurant. You can meet the Fog Queen on our stage. You can shop our merchandise table. You can use the restroom. That's pretty much the extent of everything you can do.
And then
go ahead.
No, go ahead, Manny.
So you're using the existing F&B and restroom infrastructure that was already there at the Boggy Creek?
Yeah, we're using all that. Plus, Boggy Creek very generously added an additional set of porta-johns.
They must be pretty happy about all this, like that they have actual business at that restaurant. That's really fantastic.
Yeah, so Boggy Creek heavily relies on international tourism because a lot of folks come over from the UK and want a like a Everglades-esque experience on an airboat, but they don't want to drive to South Florida. They're already in the attractions area and they want to come to Boggy Creek so they can get that experience. And it's incredibly popular with folks from the UK. And of course, they're not getting any of that business because of the shutdowns.
How long is the how long is the whole like haunt drive experience in terms of is it just a linear road that goes by and then you go straight out to the back to the city road, or how does that work?
Oh no, you go in. We have a system where we take in 4 cars and send out 4 cars. That's not to say that there's only 4 cars in the experience at once. That's not the case. At our max efficiency, we have about 24 cars in the experience at once. But
Wow.
we take in 4 cars and we take out 4 cars. So that road that you see that says entry portal is a 1-lane road, and we alternate directions just like on a construction site.
Oh, gotcha.
So
And
there's like a turnaround at the end or something.
No, the road weaves around. Maybe I could find a map, or if you want to look up Rachel, if you want to look up 2001 East Southport Road on Google Maps, I could try to show you.
Oh, it's okay. I can do it. I can do it myself later. I was just curious how it worked.
oh, there we go. Oh, well, that's where it is. So a question for you. I just think this is great. So I love the entrepreneurial spirit.
Yeah.
I hope it's successful. Of course, and it sounds like it's successful, and that's really fantastic. You know me. I love going to Halloween Horror Nights and getting my booze on. Is there alcoholic beverages, or where are we at with that at this
So
experience?
Boggy Creek has a license for beer and wine only. You can purchase beer and wine at the event, but if you do purchase beer and wine, they give you 2 really big black X's on the back of your hand, just like if you go to a club and you're too young to drink. So same deal. And our operations team looks for these black X's to make sure that you're not coming in after being served. Coming
So
into the drive-through experience after being served.
gotcha, right? And obviously, like if you're a driver, you should not be drinking at this event. We don't want that. So you have a little bit. Is there any party atmosphere to this? I mean, I know it's social distance and all that. You said you have a meet and greet stage, which is pretty great.
Yeah.
What can people expect as part of that? And then also, sorry, how long is the actual drive-through experience?
The actual drive-through experience is about 20 minutes long.
Cool.
Oh, wow.
That's great.
So we do have party vibes, or I like to think we do. The Fog Queen stage has a sound system that lets you hear the Fog Queen's theme and the Fog Queen's speech. She's a live mic'd performer. But when the Fog Queen is not on the stage, we pump out alternative late 90s rock all night long. Our story, the story of the drive-through haunt, takes place in 1997. So that's why we chose that type of music, and we play that music all evening.
And so how much? That's great. I love it. How much time would you say you should plan ahead to spend here? So let's just say you're going to go out there. You plan to arrive at 9:00 at night. Or whatever it is. How much time is it? Maybe an hour and a half, 2-hour experience, or or kind of with queuing and all that. How long would you say?
Yeah, I would say our max queue time over the weekend reached about an hour and a half. So we definitely recommend that you arrive if you're a night owl. Maybe arrive around 9:00 and then maybe see some of the things inside the park first. If you want to grab a bite, you want to hear some music, you want to meet the Fog Queen, you want to shop for some merch. And then I would say the best plan of attack is to get in line around 10:30, 10:45. That'll result in the shortest wait possible without having to buy an express lane ticket.
And so, yeah, I saw that. You have sorry, go ahead, Andy.
You have so you probably have like a dwell time of like probably an hour for each guest or so, right?
Can you say that again? Sorry.
A dwell time, so like how long each guest spends on the property in the experience is probably once they get out of their car, or like they're in line, or they're not in line anymore, but they're either doing the event or they're parked and enjoying the F&B and whatever.
I've never heard that term before. Dwell time. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we like that term. I don't have that data at my fingertips. I know that we've received pretty criticism that we need to do a better job at communicating how people can do other aspects of our event and what order is preferable, just kind of like I'm telling you now. So we are working on having like some sort of, I don't want to call it a park map, but some sort of like something we can distribute to people and let them read about the offerings and the times, almost like a times guide from Disney. to kind of clarify things and provide a little bit of better communication.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
and so yeah, I'm under any talk of a virtual queue or anything like that, right? So you line up in the car, you know.
The thing is I've been such a proponent of virtual queues since Galaxy's Edge opened, and Disney and Universal both invest tons of money into FastPass and virtual queuing. They employ statisticians and mathematicians who have crazy smart degrees, and even those guys get it wrong from time to time because the system is so chaotic. Everything that makes up the system just introduces so much noise to the plan that the plan really never goes right. So I knew early on that we just needed to be a first come, first serve establishment to make things as simple and straightforward for people. And we are getting feedback the line is too long, and we're looking at ways to address that. But we're a popular event, I'm glad to say, and it's not uncommon to wait an hour and a half to enter a haunted house anywhere. And at least in this case, you're able to be in your car and listen to
Right,
enjoy the
And have you like if you're in the car, are you selling crap to people or stuff to people while they're waiting? Is there any entertainment while they wait in the queue?
I a snake handler to the queue, which is fun. It went over with guests really well. I think we'll continue to add different things that happen in the queue so that people can feel like the experience has already started, even though they're not in it yet.
Yeah.
And we are going to talk about like selling bottled drinks like water, Sprite, Coke, and also maybe some merchandise in the queue actively so people can shop or drink soft drinks in their car.
You mentioned that it's kind of like a period piece in 1997, and I had the great pleasure of writing some music along that vein for your show. I guess it's the final scene, right?
It is the final scene, yes.
Yeah, I still haven't seen it, but you're like, I need like a late 90s alt rock anthem. I'm like, I got you.
Really, honestly, you guys, if you don't know the story, I DM'd Andy via Twitter and just explained a few things, sent over 3 sample songs, and I think 48 hours later, he was like, here's your song. He had no follow-up questions, no follow-up details, just here is your song.
That's Andy.
No, it was fun. And really quick, at the top, you mentioned how you talked about how you and Patrick met, but well, we actually might have met in person at a screening in Los Angeles 25 years ago, but that was a long time ago because you were in one of the very first films that I scored at USC, written and directed by Joe Haig, Wingapo,
Yes.
which funny story is from the Pocahontas, Wingapo father.
Right.
But yeah, you were in that movie, and that was probably maybe the 3rd or 4th film that I ever scored in my entire life, and here we are, working together again.
Small industry.
Yeah, and that was like 90. I want to say that was 1993.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
So the pricing? Can you go over the pricing structure? So like that VIP. All right, I kind of want to make sure we lay out all the facts for the people. So so what time does your event start? What time does it end? And what are the pricing? I love that VIP queue.
Yeah. So Drive-Thru Trick or Treat starts at 5:30. We let people into the queue up until 6:15. The Drive-Thru Haunt officially starts at 7, according to our information. We are waiting a little bit to make sure it gets sufficiently dark because we don't want people to have a poor experience. The entire road plays a lot better when it's very dark. So we let people start to queue up as early as 6:30 p.m. for the Drive-Thru Haunt. We typically open sometime between 7:25 and 7:35. As the night starts to come sooner in the evening, or I should say the sunset arrives sooner, we will start to open earlier and earlier and earlier. And we run until 11 o'clock, which means you can get into the queue up until 11. If you're in the queue prior to 11 p.m., you will get through the experience. We've budgeted all of our team to be on the clock until about midnight.
And are you?
Do you have to buy tickets in advance, or can you just show up not having bought a ticket? Do you have a facility for that?
You could, in theory, show up and buy a ticket. We have people out there with iPads who can sell you a ticket. However, the first 2 nights of opening weekend, we sold out. So we did have to, unfortunately, turn some folks away.
That's good. I mean, it's good but sad, but it's still good that that's still that popular. And what's been the so the VIP line? How much is the VIP line? I keep asking that. I feel like I ask too many questions at once.
Yeah. Standard car admission starts at $56 and goes up depending on the date. That's for everybody in your car. So as long as you have a legal seatbelt and everyone's wearing their own seatbelt, you can bring up to as many seats as you have in your car. So if you have an 8-passenger SUV, that's 8 friends you can bring.
Yeah.
We do allow certain 12-passenger and 15-passenger vans to come in. Our road accommodates for that, but we do charge a little bit more because specifically we send an escort out with your van who walks along with your van the whole way, just to make sure that they're guiding you through some of the tighter openings and turns.
And just from a guest experience perspective, I feel like being in a 4-door car where everyone has their own big window is probably the optimum thing. I don't think people out there should be saying we're going to cram 18 people in a car. Because that's not a really good experience. Like, you're already out there anyway, right, folks? So,
right.
Appreciate it out is what I would say. Get that, drive on in. And then so to bypass the regular queue, how does that work?
Everyone wants to talk about the VIP. Patrick, do you want a comp ticket to VIP? Is that what we're getting at?
I mean, I do. I would like that. No, I want to support your event. No need for comps for me. I would happily pay and I plan to go. So. What if you want that? I mean, I guess it's like people are saying, hey, there's an hour and a half. Hey, I'll pay you $120 and just bypass that. How does that work? I guess it's for
That's
the elites.
Literally exactly how it works. Our VIP ticket ranges from $110 to $130. It's not additional. It's just the price for your car. You get 2 things. You get access to the express lane, which helps minimize your wait, and you get a special take-home photo. The way we work that is when you get dispatched into the experience, it starts with this beautiful drive-through movie screen with this like paranormal portal ripped out of the center of it, and it glows, and there's this music. And it was designed and built by Kyle Ransbottom and Ryan Scanlon, one of our interns. And people love it. It's beautiful. It's such a cool entry piece. And what we do is we let you stop your car, and the photographer monitors you from a social distance area. Everyone gets out. They take a quick photo, you get back in your car, you resume the experience.
That's cool. Patrick, are we there?
Oh yeah, I'm there. Sorry, I was plugging in my laptop. So, but I was listening. That's great. I love that. Yeah, and I'm kind of interested in. Well, I'm interested in a lot of things. So you have that. Have you explored or have any ideas of like mobile ordering, being able to like be in your car and have stuff delivered to your car? That's kind of an interesting idea. It's all money to do. But
we looked into that, but the reality is that there's not a lot of cell phone service out there. It's pretty good with AT&T, but if you have T-Mobile or Sprint, it's not great. So we just wanted to keep it simple, and we will start to eventually sell some items directly to people in their cars, using cashless means, but mobile ordering just isn't really feasible for us right now.
That makes sense. So I guess if you go there, there's no Wi-Fi, or is there Wi-Fi, or how does that work? Is that just not set up?
There is Wi-Fi. It doesn't reach out to the parking lot, though.
Gotcha. These are the questions that people that want to go on Twitter and live stream, they need to know, right? They need to know this stuff. That's great. So you have this event. I mean, how's it felt? Just like that opening day, like everyone probably has a fear of like, are people really going to show up to this thing? And then they did, and it sounds like they did in droves. So. Why don't you talk to them about that experience, like that opening night?
Yeah, so I'll just come out and admit it. I don't have any marketing experience. I have no idea how to market an event, and marketing wasn't even something that we considered early on. When it hit us that we needed to market and market it well, we only earmarked about $5,000 to market the event, because I just thought, well, we'll build this and people will come, but that is not how it works, as it turns out. So our early days of marketing involved things like rudimentary Facebook posts that we would boost and rudimentary Instagram posts that we would boost. And now, of course, we're like a fully fledged marketing operation with, people that help with our digital. We are really fortunate to be in a program with iHeartRadio that required no upfront costs, which was important to us because we wanted to invest in our event. We wanted to make it the best event we could for the budget that we had. And I was so reluctant to spend anything on marketing because I thought, well, people might not buy tickets at first, but once people start to experience this, hopefully they connect with it and we'll just have organic reach. And up until this weekend, we were kind of relying on paid marketing. And now we've really seen an organic boost in people who have come to the event, like the event, want to talk about and showcase the event on social media, which is how we learn about things all the time these days.
Yeah. And I mean, you have over about 6,000 followers across Twitter and Facebook. I just looked it up.
We just got a TikTok video made about us that has 1.2 million views, and that's really cool. Yeah.
We don't have that large of an audience here, but
no. You're coming on nonetheless.
So that's awesome. No, congratulations on that. That's huge. And this is, there's not some corporate overlords here that are funding this, I would presume. Not that it matters. And this is quite remarkable. So congratulations on just having people show up and looking to expand events and all that. I'd love to maybe chat, what's gonna happen after October 31st or November when you're done with this event. Are you already thinking about what you would have done differently for next year? And is there a next year?
We're already thinking about what we should be doing differently now. We're making we're making changes to the show literally weekly. It's so funny to go back to what we were saying earlier. People were so concerned with being scared behind the wheel, and now we're getting criticism that it's not scary enough. People want to startle and jump more. So we've identified an area, because we dispatch cars with gaps. We've identified an area where we're going to incorporate some more of the common haunt trickery, where we can maybe make you jump or startle with like a sudden noise or a sudden appearance. Of course, still all happening from the side of your vehicle, never in front of your vehicle or behind your vehicle. And of course, not touching your vehicle or being near or in your vehicle. But we're going to try and employ some of these traditional maneuvers to really make it feel more like a haunted house, because what we have is great. The show is amazing. The story is really good. But people range in what they look for in a haunted house. Some people want a really narrative experience, and some people just want a bunch of ghosts that go boo. So we're trying to balance that out.
How close do the performers get to your car at the closest? Sorry?
6 feet.
6 feet. Oh, so it's pretty close.
And do you have talk, like, do you think you're going to have regulars, people that are like, we know these haunt events are cultish in a good way. Are there people that are like, hey, can I come every weekend for $200 or something like that? Have you had anything like that happen?
Yeah, our ticketing system doesn't support anything like that. And we did get some feedback that would be something that might help, but it's hard. It's really hard to do that based on the way we're selling tickets and the way that people enjoy the experience. So we're looking into something like that, but every weekend that it doesn't exist is a weekend that takes away from that.
Yeah.
So it may not. That doesn't matter. You can still come to Scream and Stream and not do the drive-through experience. You can come, you can park, it's free. You can go inside and meet the Fog Queen. You can listen to music. You can buy the food. You don't need to do the drive-through experience. So you can just come and hang out at Scream and Stream.
That's awesome.
You heard it here first. You can freeload off of the entertainment at Scream and Stream. Well, hey, why don't we play another video? Because I'm sure we have people that are watching now that weren't earlier. Let's go ahead and what's introduce us to the Fog Queen? Let's play the video, Rachel, and then Kris can tell us all about it.
Do you smell that? The fog? It's here, and they said Halloween was dead.
Boo, scary. So tell us all about the Fog Queen.
All right, well, the Fog Queen came around literally from a joke tweet. We joked on Twitter about having a part of our drive-through haunt where we would just inject fog into your car.
Yeah.
And then the more I thought about it, the more I thought, that's not a terrible idea. That would be kind of cool. From that concept, we birthed two things. One, this idea that there's this mistress of the fog. And two, we created these car air fresheners that make your car smell like fog. Because you realize you can't really fog box someone in their vehicle. That would be unsafe and possibly could stain or make their car smell for longer than they wanted. But we went in another direction and said, well, we're going to have a character that embodies the spirit of Halloween through fog. And instead of having her come out to your car, you can come meet her at this stage where she can be socially distanced and she can interact with you. So if you're familiar with a concept like Chucky's Insult Emporium from Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights, this is what the Fog Queen is. She is the snarky, mysterious spirit of Halloween who can chat with you, and she's up to date on all current events. She is aware of social media. She's meta, and she's mean. And
she's just roasting you.
What?
Just roasting you?
Yeah, she will interact with you. She will roast you. It's a lot of fun.
Oh, that's awesome! I love that that you can just show up and hang out and have a good time and have some barbecue, essentially for free, almost for like
Boggy Bottom barbecue real quick, because first of all, the folks over there are awesome and the food is so good. I've basically been on a Boggy Bottom barbecue diet for like 2 months, and I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
Man, I wish I could have it. I love barbecue. I wish I could go.
Well, so Kris, any parting words to those watching that want to get? We'll throw the domain name up there, and I think in the actual listing it shows the Screaming Stream. But any last words for the audience here?
Yeah, I think really my final thought is that thank you for having me on the show, but it's not about me. There have been so many folks who have contributed in making this a success, from the very first people who applied to contribute creatively, all through the folks that clocked out last Saturday night, who worked tirelessly through a week with media night and opening day and the second day. These folks are some of the best performers in Orlando. They are adaptable. They're quick to get it. They understand that what we're doing has never been tried before, and they don't back down from a challenge. They show up ready to play every night, and they're why we are a success. And I'm really appreciative of everybody that's involved.
Well, that's great, man. I wish I could go and see it. That sounds like a lot of fun.
And I want to just so thanks for coming on the show. We have these Halloween episodes, and there's all this talk of these drive-through haunts, and we're like, well, Andy worked on it, and of course we have it's like, oh, this is fantastic to have you on and chat about it. I will just say, for those people that are in Orlando that are watching and are TEA members, just keep your eye on your emails, because there may be other things in the works for another event, which is pretty cool. I can't say anything else than that. So, Kris, go ahead and stay on the line, but we're going to wrap up the show, and because we hang out in the green room after. Andy, any closing thoughts before we wrap up?
No, man, it just it's so impressive, and congratulations on just deciding to do this and then doing it. It's incredible. Good for you.
Yeah, thanks for deciding to make us a song and just making it.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, we'll be. Do we know who's on next week's show, Rachel?
I think it's is it going to be Tom Vanucci?
We'll be back next Monday at 7:00. Another Halloween show, everybody. we're still confirming all the guests, but it's. Oh, do we have a note? Oh, maybe Keith.
Oh, Keith Kaminsky. Oh, he's first. Okay.
Who's Keith? You want to chat about?
Keith Kaminsky is a good friend of mine. He is a art director and production designer for themed entertainment. Very famous for having a home haunt here in Burbank, in front of his house, and putting on full-on musicals to people standing around and watching in his street in front of his house. We'll have some videos. We'll have a good time. We'll have some drinks. It'll be fun.
Perfect. And actually, I'm next Monday is my wife's birthday, so I will not be on the show. So I'm taking the night off.
We'll have drinks in your name then.
Thanks. Bye, everybody. Thanks for joining us on the show. Thanks, Kris.
Thanks again, Kris.
We'll see you on the other side.